Hey guys, I know it's super early, but we're gonna go live this morning. We're finishing Mom's move today, so we wanted to make sure we still got you your video for the day. So I was like, let's just do it early. So, as you can see, I'm not in my normal spot because we're doing a cup live today. Because I've had a few people ask me if I could. Just making sure this is dry. So, we're doing a cup live. Yay! So this is my cup turner. So I'm just turning my cup on to this. It's mostly dry, but it's not completely dry. So I'm just gonna turn the turner on. So now the cup's spinning. Cool. Let's get to the tutorial part. So, I use the epoxy method when making cups, which means that I need epoxy. I know I'm kind of off center, but it's because my workspace is right here and I want y'all to be able to see. So, I use Pro-Marine. This will actually be the first time I'm using Pro-Marine. But I've heard nothing but great things. So, I'm gonna move some of this stuff out the way. And when you're working with the epoxy, the most important thing is to, one, put your gloves on because it is a chemical and you don't want to hurt yourself, give yourself a burn. This one in particular, I've been told gets really hot, so we're just going to be careful. My gloves are being very difficult, but they're just normal, like, normal gloves, nitrate gloves. Come on now. You can buy a pack of like 50 of these for like $5 or whatever. So, put my gloves on. Now you're gonna need something to mix your epoxy in, / something to measure your epoxy. So I, on Amazon, bought these really cool silicone cups because epoxy doesn't really stick to silicone, so you can reuse them. And they have the measuring on there, so I've already marked what I need to do, but it already has the measuring. So now, I'm just gonna measure. And I'm doing 1 cup, so usually you should only use about 10 milliliters for your cup, per cup. Come on now. I told you it's the first time I'm using it, so I couldn't even get it open. What was I saying? Oh, you use about 10 milliliters per cup, which means I always make 20 milliliters because then I have a little left over to pour into like molds and stuff. Because epoxy itself is usually pretty expensive. I'm measuring, so give me 1 second. Because like I said, it's very important to make sure. Oh shoot, I overpoured. I'm not used to having such a big container either. So I'm going to go ahead and make 40 milliliters and then I can just pour a whole bunch into the molds. So, yay, lots of epoxy molds. Sorry, I'm trying to see that line. So, I only use about 10 milliliters of this, though. When I'm trying to make my epoxy move, I use a little bit more. And I'll talk to you more about that in the second part of this slide. So I'm actually making a Milky Way tumbler for this. So that means that I'm going to be doing a second part to this slide. So you're going to learn all this stuff about epoxy and making cups. I'm going to come down here because it's a little easier for me to see. So I know I'm not in camera. I apologize. It's just really important that you have equal parts. So like I gotta do whatever I can to make sure I could see this and that, yeah. So I have seen people move these to squeeze bottles so that it's a little easier to move. But now you're just gonna mix. So I have equal parts. I did 20 milliliters of each. You only need 10 milliliters for the cup. So that's okay. We just have a little extra. And I have all these molds that I can just fill it in with. And I'm really excited because this will be fun. When working with epoxy, you do not need to wear a mask unless you have some kind of breathing issues. I don't wear a mask, but I am in a well-ventilated area. There's a window open, the fan's going. And so it's just, again, you're working with chemicals, so you need to make sure that you're taking precautions. And you know your body more than I know your body. So, and you're going to mix your epoxy for about 3-ish minutes or until it's clear. And when you do this, it doesn't jump off your stick. My hand is shaking so bad. I'm really sore because I helped Mom move yesterday. So y'all pray for us because we're in the home stretch today. I'm a little tired. You can see the bags under my eyes. But again, I just wanted to make sure y'all got y'all's video for the day. I may be able to go live later for the second part of this cup if it's done turning. So epoxy takes about 6 to 8 hours to dry. And to like not be tacky, but then it takes 72 hours to cure, which means that you're not going to chip it. So I can decorate and add another layer after 8 hours, but you can't use the cup until 72 hours after your last coat. So just a little epoxy knowledge. Okay. So it's clear and it's not jumping off the thing. So we are pretty sure we're good with that. So now, let's see if I can get this in view somewhere. Here. Cool. So now I'm going to be working with mica powders. And mica powders are super cool because it's just a pigment. So if you look, it's literally just this little pigmenty, shiny thing. And so instead of using a whole bunch of glitter for like a solid coat, I'm just going to add like literally a little dollop, just like that, to this mix. And that's all. That's all I'm going to add. That's it. And I promise it'll turn color. So this is Chrome Mica Powders from Castellari's Level Bling, which means it needs to be applied to a black base. So that's why my cup is black instead of white like usually. And that's because right now it looks like this pretty gold, but when I apply it, it's going to be like a pinky purple. So we're doing a Milky Way. And I'm going to move y'all so that y'all can see a little better. So we're going to move over here. Can you see the cup? Oops, sorry guys. I feel so bad. I know you can't see my face, but you can see the cup. Cool. So I am just gonna very lightly with my finger put this on. Okay, I'm not gonna like pour it on. I'm gonna very lightly with my finger put this on. And that's because I want to make sure that I get every little inch of this cup. So this is like, again, can you see it's like a pinky purple now? It was that pretty gold. Both colors were beautiful, but because it's a chrome, it changes colors on your black base, which I'm very excited about. And so when I do a Milky Way tumbler, I go ahead and do a mica powder base. Hey Kat, I'm actually working on your cup. So there we go. Anyway, I always do a mica powder base when I do a Milky Way. And that's because I don't want to see any black. Like, I want everything to have glitter, but sometimes, you know, you have too much glitter. So this is like a very subtle way of having a sparkly base without overthrowing everything. So I'm just smoothing it out. And you just use your finger. You don't need a silicone brush. Everybody's like, oh, you need a silicone brush to do epoxy. No, you don't. Get yourself some gloves. Just get yourself some gloves. Everything will be all right. All right, I think when I'm working with mica powders, that was a fly. We have horrible gnats right now. So if you see me swatting, it's a fly. All right, and then I do the bottom during this. I know you can't see my face, but I'm just applying a thin coat to the bottom, just because I need the whole thing to be sealed, but I don't necessarily need, you know. Now, like I said earlier, I apply a little more than I usually do because I kind of want the stuff to move. So I'm going to drizzle because I'm less likely to lose stuff on the bottom. So you're probably going to see a little bit drippage, but that way I can get a nice thick coat. And I'm going to let this turn. And while that finishes its rotation and turns and evens out, I'm going to take this glove off. See, I'm being very careful not to touch the epoxy because it's going to burn me. And I'm going to show you what I do with my extras. This is just a mold. Can you see it there? Cool. And all I'm going to do is pour into the mold. That's it. I just pour the excess into the mold. And I drop the mold a little bit, get rid of all the bubbles, or bring the bubbles to the front. And I have a little bit left, so we'll see if we can fill another mold. Because I don't waste any epoxy. I hate wasting epoxy. It's a little on the expensive side. The one I use is a little cheaper than most. But it's still, you know, I spent $50 on epoxy, so I'm gonna want to use it. Like, I don't want to waste any of that. I also grew up in a big family, and we learned not to waste anything ever. So that's it with this. And again, I'm just gonna move this and drop a little bit. And there we go. So now this is spinning out. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with my heat gun, so it's about to be really loud, but this is going to get rid of all of the air bubbles, and you're just going to do a quick pass. You don't want to burn your epoxy. You don't want to do too much to where it starts moving and like running. You're just going to do a quick back and forth, getting rid of the bubbles. Just getting rid of some bubbles, evening things out. And I still have this hand glove, so if I see a spot, I could just kind of touch it up. And I like get on my cup, and I'm looking, and I make sure again that there's no spots, bumps, anything. All right. So this is where I fixed it. So I'm just gonna even it out a little bit, and there we go. So now that I'm done with the epoxy, I'm gonna take this glove off, and I'm gonna just go and put it on here. Because like I said, epoxy gets very, very hot. And so if I just throw that in my trash can, you could catch your trash can on fire. So I literally just put it to the side on my little cup turner area. So this is pretty how it is. So I'm gonna flip you around and see if you can see the purple sparkle. See, it's like a black purple. But we're doing a Milky Way. So now I'm going to add my glitter. I got to be a little quicker with this because yeah. All right. So again, I know you can't see my face, but it's more important for you to see what I'm doing. So I have glitter and shakers, And I'll read off what the glitter name is and where I got it from as I go. But I'm just gonna add in a shoop line, like just a little line. So you should never touch glitter with your hands, with your bare hands. So I'm gonna pour it into a cup so that I have a little bit better control. And this glitter is called King of Thieves from our glitter affiliate, Georgia Southern Glitter. Ooh, I touched like wet paint over there. That was bad. All right, hey mama, I promise I'm hurrying. So you're just gonna start from the top. I need the cup to be turning the other way. There we go. All right, so I just flipped the direction of the cup turn because I want it to go away from me so that I can follow the pattern of the cup. So I'm just gonna wait because there's a spot that I want to hit with this particularly. So I had to start Kat's cup. So y'all are gonna get me a little late, Mom. All right, so I'm just gonna in like a little line, not too much. And again, this is called the epoxy method because I'm letting the epoxy be my adhesive. All right, and that's it. You can see that it's just 2 straight lines, and I'm not gonna overdo it. And I'm gonna pour the extra from my cup back into the bag. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to the next one. And we're gonna do Maleficent from Love All Bling because it's like a green. This one's in a shaker, so I don't need to put it in the cup. And I'm just gonna kind of get up on the one I just did, and just very gently. And again, I don't have to be super like hard with this because I've already glittered the base with the mica powder, which is super great. Because that means I don't have to waste a whole bunch of glitter trying to get like super perfect thick lines. I can just put a little bit on as much as I want, as much as I think looks pretty, and I could stop. And there we go. See? So we're getting this really pretty swirl. And again, that was Maleficent from Love All Bling. That goes down there. Now I'm going to use a little brighter of a color. This is Pink Element from Love All Bling. Anything you see in the shaker is probably from Love All Bling. So I'm just going to, again, get up on the one I just did. And very gently. And so that one came out thicker because it's a fine powder. And it's just gonna spread out and be beautiful. And like, we're just adding all of these colors because later on my second coat of epoxy, before I apply the decals, we're going to add mica powders and alcohol ink to it and like move it around, and it's gonna be beautiful. All right, so this is Cloud 9 glitter, and it's called Crushed Diamonds. And this is my favorite glitter, like, of all time because it's so pretty. It looks like shattered glass. And again, I'm just gonna very gently. See how pretty that is? So that was shattered glass. And then I have Goldie because I want like a little bit of gold, and I'm very sparingly, where did that cup go? Here it is. Very sparingly gonna use this. And that's only because Kat said she really liked this color and she kept asking me questions about this color. And so I'm just gonna so now it's like a little gold purple shimmer. So I'm not adding a thick coat of this. I'm just adding like enough to make it sparkle just a little bit in that section. And there we go. And so that's what I normally do for a Milky Way. It's just all the stuff I did, right? And I'll show you what a normal Milky Way looks like. The key to this is I'm going to immediately flip this so that it doesn't move again. Now that I'm done applying the glitter, I'm going to flip my tumbler around because I don't want it to start moving and combining and mixing and all of that stuff. Now, the different thing that I'm going to do, let me flip you and show you first what it looks like. So this is the finished tumbler in all its glory. This is what a normal Milky Way would look like. Okay? This is how I normally would do it. And it's really pretty. Like, I love this. Alright. So now, my lovely friend Kat that I'm making this cup for because I love her, is a huge fan. She's super smart. She loves, like, she's in the medical field. She's trying to become a doctor. So pray for her, guys. She has her interview on Wednesday to get her PhD. Get her doctorate. I don't know what it's called, but she's trying to become a doctor. She has an interview for that on Friday. It's so early. I'm sorry, guys. But she also loves the stars, and so I have this really pretty custom blend, and it's from Nola Craft Culture, and it doesn't have a name because it's a custom blend, but it's stars and circles and moons, and so I'm gonna use my gloved fingers because y'all don't need to be touching y'all nasty hands to your glitter. Don't listen to people. And I'm literally just gonna like drop a little bit onto this pink to like kind of not make it so bright. And I think she'll like that. She was on earlier, so I can't ask her opinion. But so I don't usually add any kind of chunky after the fact to my cups, but I thought this color was perfect, and it'll kind of drown out the brightness of this pink that I have, which is why I did such a bright color. And with chunkies, you're just going to very sparingly, like I'm literally just kind of pinching my fingers and moving them back and forth, and then you'll see that I'll go and pat it down and make sure that nothing's kind of lifted up, because we want it to be as smooth as possible. And that's why I like the epoxy method so much. It's because you don't have to do Mod Podge and then, you know, throw on some more, like throw on your epoxy, because you have to epoxy cup no matter what. And then, you know, it's too thick or whatever. And so now you have stuff sticking up and like no, we're not doing all of that. So I'm just putting my finger on the top of the cup. That way everything's nice and pushed down on the cup. And there's no sharp edges on the top. Wow, this is a beautiful cup. All right. And then I'm going to I eye it. Like I told you earlier. I'm like eyeing like a hawk. And just kind of making sure that everything is pushed down. And like, I don't see anything. There's some spots over here, but like, the bottom is the other part. You got to watch for like jagged edges, but like, I think I've been doing this a lot. And so I'm usually pretty good at not like applying it without it being sticking up. And so I'm done. And again, I'm just going to put my glove over there. So I go through like 3 or 4 gloves, and I'll show you the finished product. So this is part 1 of the Milky Way tumbler. And it's just for those who have been doing cups a lot, it's just a glitter swirl. And that's basically you just apply a bunch of glitters and diagonals. So there you go, guys. So y'all have a great day. I love y'all. And maybe I'll see you tonight, but again, we're helping Mom move. So if not, y'all have a great day. Bye, guys.